Welcome to Days at Dogwood Canyon, a nature podcast brought to you by Dogwood Canyon Audubon Center in Cedar Hill, Texas. This is a podcast that will take you into our 200-acre wildlife preserve in the heart of the DFW Metroplex. Take a quick weekly break with us and get outside with the fresh air, the trees, and of course, the birds. My name is Kiersten, and I'm Center Coordinator Community Programs here at Dogwood Canyon Audubon Center. Welcome, listeners, to our Days at Dogwood Canyon podcast. This is a podcast about nature, birds, plants, and us. We will talk about how we all rely on each other to live our best lives. The title of this episode, Christmas Bird Count, might be a bit confusing for some of you. Maybe you're thinking, what do birds and Christmas have to do with each other? And what's with all the counting? Well, let me tell you a little story. The Christmas Bird Count is the longest-running community science bird project in our nation's history. Not kidding. It all started in 1900. Yes, I said 1900, 1900. Prior to the turn of the 20th century, hunters engaged in a holiday tradition known as the Christmas side hunt. They would choose sides, and they'd go out with their guns, and whoever brought in the biggest pile of feathered and furred animals won. Don't worry, the story does get better. Conservation was in its beginning stages in that era, and many observers and scientists were becoming concerned about declining bird populations, as they should be, and they thought, maybe we shouldn't be killing all these animals. So beginning on Christmas Day 1900, ornithologist Frank M. Chapman, a member of the early Audubon Society, proposed a new holiday tradition, a Christmas bird census that would count birds during the holidays rather than killing them. Way to go, Frank. Thanks to the inspiration of Chapman and the enthusiasm of 27 other dedicated birders, 25 different Christmas bird counts were held that day. The locations ranged from Toronto, Ontario, to Pacific Grove, California. And those original 27 Christmas bird counters tallied around 90 species that day. That's pretty good. So let's fast forward to today. Each November, birders interested in participating in the Christmas Bird Count, or CBC, can sign up and join in through the Audubon website. From December 14th through January 5th each year, tens of thousands of volunteers throughout the Americas brave snow, wind, or rain and take part in the effort. Audubon and other organizations use data collected in this long-running wildlife census to assess the health of bird populations and to help guide conservation action. This year marks the 125th anniversary of that very first Christmas bird count. And there are groups from Canada to South America and even on the islands in the Pacific Ocean that participate in this wintertime tradition. Now, you may be wondering how counting birds helps them and us. Well, the data collected by observers over the past century allow Audubon researchers, conservation biologists, wildlife agencies, and other interested individuals like you, to study the long-term health and status of bird populations across North America. When combined with other surveys, such as the Breeding Bird Survey, it provides a picture of how the continent's bird populations have changed in time and space over the past 100 years. The long-term perspective is vital for conservationists. It informs strategies to protect birds and their habitat and helps identify environmental issues with implications for people as well, because birds tell us how healthy our habitat is. So what have conservationists learned through the Christmas bird count? Let's look at some specific examples. Audubon's 2014 climate change report is a comprehensive, first-of-its-kind study that predicts how climate change could affect the ranges of 588 North American birds. Of the 588 North American bird species Audubon studied, more than half are likely to be in trouble. Our models indicate that 314 species will lose more than 50% of their current climate range by 2080. This data was impacted by the Christmas bird count population studies. The Environmental Protection Agency has included Audubon's climate change work from CBC data as one of 26 indicators of climate change in their 2012 report. In 2009, CBC data were instrumental in the collaborative report by the North American Bird Conservation Initiative, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, for the state of the birds in 2009. In 2007, CBC data were instrumental in the development of Audubon's Common Birds in Decline report, which revealed that some of America's most beloved and familiar birds have taken a nosedive over the past 40 years. All of this data was collected by community scientists just like you. If this CBC, Christmas bird count, sounds like something you'd like to get involved in, you can. There is most likely a CBC count near you. Now, I will post a link to National Audubon's site where you can discover chapters near you that host a count. Now, if you remember at the beginning of this podcast, I did say that many people roughed the cold and the rain, but you don't necessarily have to do that. Many different chapters will offer a big sit. So that means you might sit in one area, could be outside, or it could be inside, maybe looking out your back window. So if you're not as interested in being out in the harsh weather, there is probably an option for you to stay inside and contribute to the Christmas bird count wearing fuzzy slippers and drinking hot cocoa. Now, if you are near Cedar Hill, our Christmas bird count will be on January 1st, 2025. It's a great way to start off your year doing something fun and unique. You can sign up on our website, which I will put a link in the show notes, and join us. Experienced birders are encouraged, but new counters are welcome. Having basic knowledge of bird ID is a good start. It will help you to be a bit more comfortable working the Christmas bird count. But I welcome those who want to learn. Now, keep in mind that this is a bit more fast-paced than a leisurely walk, and we don't have time for slow birding. If you're just starting out, this might be a bit rushed for you, but you are welcome to come along. We typically begin at 8 a.m., and depending on what we are seeing, we'll bird until late afternoon. We meet at Dogwood Canyon Audubon Center and travel to designated areas determined by our zone leader. You can participate in any CBC, and you can participate in multiple counts a year. So here in the DFW area, there are several counts you can join. Fort Worth Audubon has multiple days to join a CBC count. Prairie and Timbers Audubon Society holds their CBC the day after Christmas near the Herd Museum. So do a little sleuthing and you'll find a count near you. All right, listeners, I hope to meet some of you at our Christmas bird count next year.